right, y'all. Welcome back to Tennessee Tuesdays.
Episode 31.
31, if you keep track of Spanish. A little bit going on, still kind of echoey, but at least we have like somewhat of a...
We have a little backdrop.
It
doesn't look like, 2x4s.
No, it's just a makeshift thing. I put it up there just so that way we have something to... At least behind us, it's not distracting. And then we brought Old Glory back.
Nice.
How old is this?
It's got to be like 12 years old. Probably.
This was like an original Stagecoach bar top.
This was our bar we would take to Stagecoach.
Like obviously there was like...
And camping.
It was like a pallet bar. Like
it was very nice.
It was really cool.
It was heavy.
I love the top. And that's why we saved the top. And it's been through a lot. But I was like, you know what? We'll use this. Why not?
It's going to work perfect. So we're just not sitting with a weird table behind us.
Yeah, I think it gives us something to kind of like, I don't know.
We can put our papers down so I don't have to fidget with them. So Matt doesn't get mad.
There you go. So Governor Lee, Bill Lee of Tennessee yesterday gave his State of the State, which is kind of like tonight's version of Biden's, State of the Union speech. But unlike Biden, Governor Lee actually speaks for himself and what's going on with Tennessee. So he discussed a lot of things last night. So we're just going to kind of cruise over them. He pretty much lays out his budget proposal. And it's $55.6 billion coming up for this next fiscal year, which is a decrease in overall spending compared to 2022. It's about $600 million less, and that's because those magic pandemic funds that we pulled out of thin air
finally ran out.
Yeah, they're not as plentiful as they used to be. So this goes into effect starting July 1st. That's fiscal year for the state. And a lot of stuff, like he proposes all this and then lawmakers discuss it and then they come back to him. And so like, this is a long process between now and July 1st. Like it'll be changed and
not
and
everything will go through.
So this is kind of his presentation. So what's in it, right? Right off the top, he's got $3 billion for roadways. Now this goes on top of President Biden's Infrastructure and Jobs Act that was presented back in 22, which was $1.2 trillion, somewhere in there. So Tennessee was going to get about $1.2 billion out of that, which we've only seen $20 million so far. So this is Lee's additional from the state, giving $3 billion of roadway improvement.
Hey, Tennessee does a very fabulous job of doing roadway.
For the most part, except for Alcoa Highway. Alcoa Highway's been under construction since 5 years ago when we first came out here.
But they do a very good job of filling in potholes and that type of thing.
Out here they do. I don't feel they do in Nashville.
No, Nashville has some terrible roadways.
Nashville, there are some potholes that will destroy.
You think like the front end of your car is about to fall off.
So hopefully they address potholes. But it's going to provide choice lanes, which are AKA is...
Toll roads. So toll roads might be coming to Tennessee. I'm not expecting them over here in East. That definitely is going to be like a Nashville.
That's a Nashville thing. There is traffic in Nashville, and you get some pretty decent traffic. So if you could have, some toll road, I don't know.
So are they going to take away from the lanes that are already there?
That's the problem with the choice lane is you create a toll road. Are you adding lanes? Are you taking houses away? Are you taking away lanes?
I feel like they've done a pretty good job of adding more lanes in Nashville, but I don't know. They're going to have to start taking away from people's properties.
I don't know. And that's always a bad sign when you got to take people's properties because you saw that in California all the time. You got to forgive me for all this paint I have on my hands. I'm painting the girls' closets and I just could not get it off. So that is, roadway improvement coming. So he also proposed children's services could see a $193 million budget increase. The keyword there is could. So DCS, the Department of Children's Services in Tennessee, is terrible right now. They are having all sorts of issues. Lack of beds, lack of case workers. I believe they're short about 400 case managers. which
That's
is an
a lot.
issue. It is. It's a disaster. So that could allow 166 new beds, salary increases to tempt new workers. They're getting all kinds of scrutiny regarding the condition of facilities and the high case loads.
But why did these caseworkers leave? There has to be issues.
I don't know. You read stories of kids being bounced back and forth between like Isaiah House, which is a fantastic organization out here.
Middle House.
And DCS, like bouncing back and forth between the two for like 6-8 weeks. And like you have teachers that'll see kids come in and then all of a sudden they're gone and they're off to the next spot. Like,
that's hard on kids.
On a little 5-6-year-old, like that's not good. So, only 193 million going to that. Like,
I feel like we could put more money towards the children.
I feel like we could fix the kids.
Before we fix other things.
Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. Hopefully that pans out. 350 million for Memphis sports stadiums. That's a no for me.
I think they could give that money probably to the children.
Yeah, we're giving 193 to Children's Services, and we're giving 350 to Memphis Sports Stadium.
Not many people are going to travel to Memphis to watch.
No, the Grizzlies are trash, and their owner Para, whatever his name is, he's worth like $16 billion. So if he wants a new stadium, he could build a stadium. Okay, it doesn't need to come from taxpayers.
I disagree.
We could take that 300 million and we can give it to Children's Services, I think.
But what is there like people that go to this Memphis sports arena? I feel like they're not going to see make money back from the stadium.
Well, that's the thing, and it's all going to be taxpayer money. So it only benefits these owners of the sports teams and stuff, which there's a whole debacle going on in Nashville with Titan Stadium now too, being taxpayers of Nashville will be paying for a new stadium for that one too. So
so that would just be coming from Memphis taxpayers, correct? Or the whole state of Tennessee?
The whole state.
Oh, no.
Well, and there'll be local taxes and stuff that will impact it all.
The Memphis people, if they want that, they should pay for it out of their taxes. I don't think we should pay for it.
You don't want to pay for a Memphis stadium?
No. Give it to something of a better cause. Definitely not that.
Yeah, so Memphis, that's enough from us. Sorry. 370 million. Now, this was a good one. 370 million for new state parks and finishing trails.
I like this one.
That's a good one. So Lee is investing into the state, into the outdoors, which is huge out here, obviously, with the Smokies and all the state parks and waterfalls and rivers and endless trails.
I will say the state parks, they do a very well job of maintaining their parks, their trails, and everything. So I think this money will be used wisely in the state parks.
I think it will. So they're proposing the creation of some new state parks at the Middle Fork Bottoms, North Chickamauga. I love that one. That's a dam I went to. Devil's Backbone and Fiery Gizzard. I don't know
where some of these are.
Fiery Gizzard. I don't know where any of these are. Well, Middle Fork Bottom. We've been to Upper Fork before. Yeah. Chickamauga Dam I've been to with the drone. It'll also help fund new natural areas at Hampton Creek, Short Springs, and Stillhouse Hollow, and improvements to Natchez Trace Recreation Area, Scotts Gulf State Park, and Savage Gulf. So those are all places I've never heard of.
Nope, haven't been to them.
So we may have to pay a visit to some of those and recap those and kind of see what the new improvements would be.
The hard thing with the parks in Tennessee, there are so many places to go, hiking, things to do. We will never be able to check them all off our list of the ones we want to do.
We have quite a list.
And some of them you have to drive 2 hours to, which is not bad, but you got to make that a full day thing.
Well, especially if it's 2 hours west, because then you go over the time zone.
Then you lose an hour coming back.
And then you got to add, it makes it a little bit longer coming back. So it can make it for a haul for the day. So I'm excited to see that. Last portion of the funding would go towards finishing and expanding Cumberland Trail, Mountain Goat Trail, Tweetsees Trail, and Wolf River Greenway. Again,
some of these names.
I mean, Cumberland Trail we're familiar with, but these other ones we haven't heard of. So more places for us to go and explore, I guess. So that'd be kind of cool.
Start checking them out.
100 million. Now this is where controversy always comes in. And during his speech, somebody was yelling out up above, and 100 million going to crisis pregnancy centers. So this would be one of the largest moves in the country if this were to go through, with Roe v. Wade being overturned and all that stuff. The grant would give nonprofits in the state that are known for dissuading people from getting abortions. So give them more money to operate and go about their ways. Tennessee is a hard stop on abortion. It is illegal. There is no, rape, incest protection, nothing like that. And one of those things I've learned as a man, I keep my mouth shut when it comes to abortion, and I only talk to my wife about abortion behind closed doors as a family. That's it. So
it's not a topic you really just have with most people.
No, and like Taylor would come home from school and they're like, oh, so-and-so was talking about Roe v. Like when the Roe v. Wade thing was going on, I told Taylor, I said, look, you're a woman, like you deal with abortion, yes, but steer clear of that conversation wherever you can, especially being young. You don't need to be talking about it right now. It's something that is much bigger, and it's bigger, but it's a very private thing, and I think that's something that comes down to behind closed doors.
It's also a discussion that you would have between your husband, and that's it.
Yeah. Yep. So that would go towards that. It would also propose expanding paid paternal leave for state employees and widening the Medicaid eligibility for pregnant women and parents. And the plan also asks to cover the cost of diapers for Medicaid recipients for 2 years, which is pretty big.
That's a big one.
I mean, I remember us buying diapers.
Diapers and formula are a struggle
Endless.
for new parents.
Endless. And if they could have a little bit of breathing room with just diapers.
It would make a big difference, especially for a single mom.
Yep.
It would make a huge difference for a single mom.
I think that's pretty cool. So we won't touch any more on that one. $1.1 billion for the new education funding formula. So last year they passed the Tennessee Investment in Student Achievement Act, or TISA, TISA, an education funding formula to replace the current basic education program, which will take effect next year. And this will also include $125 million in teacher raises.
I do think teachers need raises, so I agree that this might be.
And I think he said before he leaves office, like the starting salary for teachers or something will be $50,000 or something, which is huge.
That's a big one.
So primary focus on teachers, which is awesome. Next one, $4.5 million to fund TBI forensic positions. So they're going to give 25 new forensic positions at the Bureau of Investigations, which is big. They received some funding because of Eliza Fletcher, because it highlighted all the issues and the timing that, rape kits take to get processed. It takes, I've heard crazy stories of a year for a rape kit to get processed.
Why would it take that long? I feel like if you were raped and you did a kit, you should get that back before a year.
I'm with you on that one. I don't get how it takes that long, but that will hopefully kind of shorten that time. And it's also going to add 100 highway patrol troopers. So THP.
Well, I hope they're giving them bonuses.
Get a new recruitment. Some other highlights, $288 million for a one-time 3-month sales tax holiday on food from August 1st to October 31st, providing tax relief for Tennessee families. So it's kind of echoing what they did this last year where they did the month of it.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of, I went to the store today and I just bought necessities, just the essentials, breads, dinner stuff, lunch stuff, $150. $150. That wasn't even
We didn't buy any garbage. It was stuff that we truly needed to make dinners or lunches for Taylor for school.
And that's not with Super Bowl coming up. And speaking of which, Super Bowl, just quick shout out to the Eagles. Go Birds. I care less actually about NFL, but
we are rooting for the Eagles.
Mackenzie's boyfriend is a diehard Eagles fan, so we're rooting for the Eagles. But I was gonna say that's not even buying stuff for guacamole or stuff for.
If you're having a Super Bowl party, it's going to be kind of costly.
So it's crazy. So that's kind of cool. A 3-month sales tax holiday. Skilled workforce, they're going to target more of that. So that's TCAT, fantastic programs that kids can get into. I mean, they can get enrolled in TCAT when they're in high school and come out as a welder and HVAC, plumbing, like all these trades that are only going to be in more demand. So $370 million to update outdated facilities, $380 million to invest in new buildings, and $147 million to build 6 new TCATs to better serve more students across Tennessee.
I feel like the trade industry is getting bigger because there are a lot of kids that per se don't want to go to college, and a trade is a great option. You can make a great living.
And I think a lot of the boomers are getting phased out now.
Yeah.
Right? So you have this gap now, and you have where a lot of kids, like millennials, even like our age, I hate saying that we're millennials, but we are on the cusp of it, and younger than us, don't want to work.
Yes.
And get dirty and stuff. So there's a big gap in opening. So hopefully these kids will start to jump on these opportunities, because you can make a fantastic living as a trades worker once you do your time and you get dirty, and then you move up and start your own business or something.
But it's also a great way, if you don't want to be in debt, is to go to a trade school instead of go to college if you have no passion to go to college.
Yep.
And it's not for everyone.
Yep. So with all that, that was from Bill Lee. There's lawmakers are in Nashville are actually discussing today bills in committee right now, like as we're recording this actually. And these are hopefully going to move these things up the ladder and they'll turn into law. But some big ones going on today. And SB3 or HB9 bans drag where children might be present. Huge one. That's going to be in Tennessee. So my favorite note on one of like the arguments against this was the lack of being specific in this legislation makes it hard to determine what exactly it limits and where the line is drawn between protecting children and banning people from expressing themselves.
Express yourself in an indoor building where children are not present.
Rubbing your junk across a stage and thrusting it in a child's face is not expressing yourself, okay? No. We've discussed this before. That's not expressing yourself. So this is going to be the hard stop on that, hopefully. HB 30 is adult entertainment. HB1 is the gender affirming care, so no sex changes on minors, the whole Vanderbilt thing that went on.
If you're not over 18, they should not be allowed to operate on you for sex change.
SB 11 protects against COVID mandates. HJR 38 is right to bear arms without infringement. So this is an ever going one, I feel like, in the state.
But there will always be something like this.
Yeah. So HB 252 is the Homeschool Family Privacy Act, and then HB 40 prohibits foreign enemies from owning land, which is huge. Like that should be a national thing. Like all these like Chinese owned like farmlands around our military bases that are going up, like
those seem absolutely absurd.
Like it's crazy that we're letting them do that. Like it's absolutely nuts. So hopefully that goes into place and kind of protect that. And then HJR 45, our boy Brian Ritchie from Maryville has introduced this one. It's a joint resolution to amend the Tennessee Constitution, instituting 16-year term limits for all local and state elected officials. Now this is something, if you go back in the vlogs, we talked to Brian 3 years ago. This was one of his things. Like, hey, he's like, I am going to go in there once I get in and I'm going for term limits. So
there should be term limits.
So this is a great start, getting it in there. Now this is except the governor. The governor will still be subject only to 2 terms. But this is fantastic for the state and local officials because people get too comfortable.
If we can get it passed in the state, we could eventually get it passed.
I think it could turn. Hopefully, I mean it's going to take a lot, but if we could start locally, that's where you need to start. Like
you got to start local, and then you can build from there.
Everybody wants to fight these national fires, and you can't put out a national fire if you ain't putting out the local ones and then your state ones. So,
but everyone should have a term limit.
So it's a fantastic start, Brian Ritchie. Thank you for introducing that one. So that is just kind of a review on the state of the state. We will see what President Biden has to say tonight in his State of the Union. I'm sure it'll be gaslit and full of all kinds of
I'm sure it's just going to be scripted because he reads from a teleprompter, and half the time he can't do that.
Well, they're always scripted, but it's not going to be his words. It's going to be somebody else's words telling him what he needs to say.
That's if he can actually read the teleprompter.
We'll see. So that is it from East Tennessee. We appreciate y'all being here. TennesseeTuesdays.com, as well as all the socials. Give us a like, a follow, a share. If you want to hear anything or want us to do anything, I'm excited because things are coming along. So hopefully we'll start having more interviews now, bringing other people in so you don't have to see us and hear us.
We should do another one with one of the babies.
We could do a follow-up with Tessa. I don't know if Tanner would have the attention.
Tanner might. Maybe
And
not.
They wouldn't understand what James says. So
James, you would just...
we need to have one with the kids.
It
Like,
would
we need
be
to have
that.
the kids in here. But the only problem is when we have the kids, like, we're short on mics. Like, we don't have...
We don't
Like,
have four.
I'm not buying more mics. Mics are already expensive enough. So maybe we can get, like, a main
one.
mic or something we could drop.
We could just
and-
drop it from the ceiling.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But thank you for being here. We appreciate y'all. Love
Have
the
a
support.
wonderful Tuesday evening.
That is it from East Tennessee.